Hey everybody, how are you doing? Welcome to this episode of HASS University. Today we have Miss Sharan Nixon, founder of Fashion Umbrella. Most people know her by Baltimore Fashion Week, which I believe is this the 14th season, I believe. Um, so today's episode, we're just going to find out a little bit more about Sharan, about Baltimore Fashion Week, and some of the projects that Fashion Umbrella has. And then at the end of this, we'll actually open things up to questions. Um, so allow me to introduce you guys to Miss Sharan Nixon.
Hi,
Hi, Sharon. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm wonderful, wonderful. Um, Obviously, as the lead-in said, you are Miss Baltimore Fashion Week, and that is actually part of a larger project, which is Fashion Umbrella, which is a nonprofit organization.
Yes,
Am I correct? Okay.
yes.
Uh, so as I said, we're just going to kind of go into some of the some things about the programs and stuff that you do. So I'm actually going to turn it over to you and just tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into this, and about your nonprofit.
So, hi, I'm Sharon Nixon, and I got into this whole industry thing from modeling when I was younger. I I modeled, and I when I would do the shows, and this is no shade on anyone, but when I would do the shows, it was hectic in the back, and I couldn't understand why. So I'm very I guess AOCD. I don't know. I believe that everything has an order and a purpose, and things should be done a certain type of way. And so I couldn't understand the purpose of the long shows. Like, why are we still here? And so when I got bit by the New York Fashion Week bug in 2005. I saw my very first show, Ellie Saab. I was able to go in. Took all of that in the registration process and then the seating process. And then I was able to go behind the scenes and I just loved it. And I decided to do Fashion Week here, which here we are, season 13, or for everyone else, it'll be 13th annual Baltimore Fashion Week. But this year is our 13th season or year. And I'm excited. So it's now when Baltimore Fashion Week started, it was a standalone. And then when I started hi, Michelle. And then when I started my nonprofit, which is the Fashion Umbrella Foundation, we moved all standalone events underneath the Fashion Umbrella Foundation, and they are now fundraisers for the foundation because the Fashion Umbrella Foundation is a volunteer organization. No one gets paid. Everyone volunteers their time. So, being a volunteer organization, we have to be extremely creative in how we raise funds and revenue for the organization to keep the programs alive and to keep the doors open, the phones ringing, the internet working. We have to figure that out. And my board is very constructive, and my mentors are very constructive in making sure that that happens. Whether it's a normal or regular fundraiser, not regular, but a fundraiser like Baltimore Fashion Week, the designer debut, which takes place during New York Fashion Week in September. Then we have the gala, which takes place in March, which we might be moving to the summertime. I have to get a vote on that. So I can't even do anything without receiving a vote from my board members. But I love what I do. I'm a mother of three. My sons are grown. And so I've been doing this for a while. I think I did my very first runway show in 2004 no, was it? No, it was 2003. I think I did my very first runway show. And so the rest is history. So here I am. Yay. Hey, Antonio.
Well, also, awesome. Well, you were mentioning about Fashion Umbrella, and I know there's a couple of projects that you have that you do annually. So I know there's the Back to School Refresh
Mhm.
and Educational Honors and scholarship program. So can you just kind of go into those and just tell us a little bit more about those?
Sure. So our back to school refresh program is a program that we started, and it's a school supply replenishment program. And we do it in February. And the reason why, you'll find out that as I talk about our programs, that a lot of our programs came from experiences that I experienced as a single mother raising three sons. And so when my sons would be out of school, you have the winter break, and before school starts, you buy all this notebook and all this notebook paper and pens. And then it seems like after winter break, none of that is around. I mean, you buy cases and cases, and none of it is around. So I know it would be so heart-wrenching for me, the day before. You know how it is, parents, the day before the child or your children are supposed to go to school. They're knocking on the door. Hey, mom. Hey, dad. Can we go to Walmart? This is 9 o'clock at night. Can we go to Walmart to get some? I need some notebook paper. So because that was an ongoing thing between me or with me and my sons, when this was the very first program we implemented, which was the back to school refresh. Teachers is for homeroom teachers from grades kindergarten to sixth grade, because it's for elementary school. And so if you are a teacher, and it's open now, so you can register all of our programs. They don't shut down. If you're interested, you can register all year long, and we'll accept your form. So if you are a teacher, you can go there and register, fill out the information. And if you're selected, your school will receive all of these school supplies. We have school supplies still in our office now from last year because no one registered. I talked to a few teachers. First, the form was too long. Then, oh, I forgot. Can I get an extension? No, you can't get an extension. No, the deadline is the deadline. And so, for those people who are here and who know me, you all know that I am so deadline driven. That's it. It is it. Cut up, chop, chop, end the story. And so we have the back to school refresh. We have the educational honors, which is a program that I love, love. I love all of my programs. And so this one is for 7th through 12th grade students who have a 2.5 GPA or better. If you have perfect attendance, we love you that much more. So if you have a 2.5 GPA and you're in grades 7 through 12, you can apply. You can use your report card from last year. If your report, and it's an unofficial report card, and as long as your report card shows that you have a 2.5 GPA or better, you are accepted. It's just that easy. What we do is with the educational honors in December, we invite the student and we invite a guest to come to a luncheon. The foundation pays for everything. Now, if you have someone that you want to come, or someone says, oh, I want me and Tiffany and James and your grandmother and your cousin is coming in from DC, we all want to come. Well, see, now we got to talk about a ticket. You got to talk about a ticket price. So I don't really like charging my guests for a whole lot of stuff because you got to still live. And so if that should come up, we create tickets, and then the guests of the honorees can come. Each student receives a special gift from the mayor. We provide them with an acrylic plaque. We do not do wooden plaques here. I do not like them. I think they're so old school. So they get I wish I had a picture, but if you go to fashionumbrella.org, it's .org. If you go to fashionumbrella.org, you can go to educational honors, and you will see the awards and the students who have been represented or honored in the past. And so now we're getting to the gala. So the gala, now before I talk about let's talk about the gala. So the gala is it's a party where we use to raise money for our scholarship award. The Fashion Umbrella has a scholarship award for freshmen and sophomore students only. Freshmen and sophomore students only. And the reason why we selected those two grade levels, because they are the highest grade levels for dropouts in college. Most of the time, a lot of freshmen don't stay in because they still have that high school mentality. And we all know that when we get in college, the professor is not going to chase you down for your homework or your assignment, or you got to keep up with your syllabus. And some schools don't implement that at an early stage or learning process while they're in high school. So when they get in college, if it's not for finances, it's for they may consider college to be too much to time. And I started this program because when I was in college, I had to choose between a textbook and getting my sons two coats. So we all know what Miss Nixon did. She went for the coats. Bob, I'll take door number two with the coats. So I got the coats. And I just didn't want to see any other students have to go through that kind of sort of, because you got to make a choice between something you need to survive versus a textbook. And so each student can get, if you're accepted, there is a form, fashionumbrella.org. Go to programs and then click on scholarship award and complete it. We had someone to complete it from, I think they're from Chicago. They completed it already. And so if only one person registers, they get the money. And so each person, our budget, we have a budget, but the minimum you can get is $200, and the money is sent to the school. We no longer give it directly to the students because we found out that they weren't using it right, because they blasted this information on social media. We found out about it. So now, because of that one student, now we send it directly to the school. Prior to that, we were giving the check directly to the student because, they still have to live too. Then we have Baltimore Fashion Week, which some of you know about. We're in our 13th season for that, and I'm really excited. This year it's going to be in Hunt Valley, and this year I believe we have 10 designers who are showcasing, and then and that's a fundraiser for all of our programs. And then we have the designer debut. That's also a fundraiser for our programs as well. And the designer debut, in the past 3 years, we've invited 4 designers to showcase. But because last year it was a fabulous show, but I did not like the quickness that was needed for the models. So we reduced it this year to 2 designers, and we'll probably keep it that way. We'll probably keep it that way until we move to a larger location, which I had plans to go see, but we all know how that fell through with the way the world is right now. And so the designer debut is held during New York Fashion Week. It was just a win-win for everybody. The show usually, once it's on the Fashion Week online event calendar, the tickets sell out in 2 weeks. And it's been like that for the past 3 years. So, and people are still buying tickets now. I just got but I received an alert today where someone purchased 2 tickets for Baltimore and 2 for the designer debut in New York. So it's not that we're not going to have it. It's happening. The dates might fluctuate a little bit, but both of our events are happening. The gala, which was supposed to take place in March, which we all know did not happen, is scheduled now for June. So hopefully, I don't know if it'll happen in June, because I would not. I have to feel it. Like I want to make sure that if my guests come, they can relax and have fun like we normally have in the past. And I just don't want anybody. It's fresh. So we're all going to be on some type of thing now. But the gala is scheduled now for a summertime gala, which I thought was really cute. Now people don't, our guests don't have to worry about going to buy a gown and shopping at all these different places to purchase a gown that they might only wear one time. So now you can wear your cute maxi dresses and be as cute as I will be, right? So yeah, those are my babies, my programs. I don't think. Oh, and I also do one where I go into the school. It's a job readiness program, and so I go in, I talk to the students, we go over their resume, and then we do mock interviews. And I'm very, very, very stern on the mock interviews because I teach the the students that you don't need to have a lot of money to attend an interview. You can recreate or redesign what you already have in your closet, just so you can go. And it's okay if you don't have the clothes to let the employer know. If they shouldn't say anything because that's discriminatory, so let's put that out there. But in case they do say something, you can let them know that this is the best you had. I'm here to get a job. Bottom line, point blank. Once you get your check, once the students or the employee gets their check, then it's up to them to up their clothing line if they choose to, because they still might have life expenses. So I go in and I talk to the students. We've done it in the past, and it was only supposed to be one session, but then it ended up being two sessions in one day, which is a lot. And so we did mock interviews, and I critiqued them from the time they walked into my makeshift office to the time they said hello, the eye contact, all of that. So that's what we do. Yay! Fashion umbrella.
Well, that's awesome. I understand that you also do a youth open mic,
Yes, I
and
forgot about my other baby.
that's actually connected with, I believe you said Chance the Rapper's nonprofit organization.
Well, what happened? I'm known to some people for our creativity and our sponsorship and our reach. So one morning, I love the story. One morning, matter of fact, I was late for work that day, and Gail King was interviewing Chance the Rapper, and usually I don't stop and really sit and watch the interviews, but she's very instrumental in her interviews. So she was interviewing Chance the Rapper, and he was talking about what he do in his music, and then he was talking about his nonprofit. And I was like, what? And then he started talking about this program he has called, is it called Youth? I think it's called Youth Open Mic or Open Mic. But anyway, it's for ninth through 12th grade students. They come and they perform whatever they want to perform. They have 3 minutes and that's it. Now, when I wanted to do it, I'm just not one to just do something because somebody else is doing it, especially if they've done it before me. So I sent them, I was on a train and I wrote them a message from my phone. I sent them an email. I looked up everything on my phone. I sent them a message and they called me 2 days later to talk to me about it. And I didn't ask for money. I didn't want any of that. The only thing I asked for was guidance and their permission to do their blueprint here. So this year, this June will be the third, because we were doing it every month, and then that didn't work because Baltimore is a different type of city. They have to warm up to you before they actually accept you. And I learned that with Fashion Week. So Nicholas is my contact at Social Work Shy, which is Chance's nonprofit. And he noticed that we didn't have an event one time. And I said, no, we're taking a brief hiatus right now because we need to step back and regroup, because the way the blueprint is you provided to me, it's just not working for our demographic here. I said, I really need to make some changes to it. He said, so whatever you need to do to make it successful in your area, do that. So we stepped back and I had to completely regroup. Nelly Hendricks is the host. I'm just the administrative arm and I make sure everything works and everything's paid for. But Nelly is the host because there's no way I could do youth open mic without her. She taught me what bars meant. I mean, I kind of sort of figured, but she's into that life. She's into that rap music. She doesn't do trap music, I don't think, but she's into that music realm. I'm not. I'm just strictly administrative. And so she hosts, I find a place, I do the marketing, I get all of that done. We have a website, youthopenmic.com. Registrations are open, But as everything's happening, that'll probably be pushed back at least a month. So it might not happen until July, but it's slated down for June 13th. And so this year we have money on the table. So I said, okay. So I sat back and I talked to Nelly. I said, so what are we going to do? We can't, I'm not doing it. We need to figure this out. So I said, why don't we put money on the table? And that way the students that come or the participants that come, because you could be from the ninth grade all the way up to age 19. Was it 20? I think it might be 20. Because once you turn 21, you're now an adult. So we did it from the ninth grade all the way up to age 20. And you can perform. You have 3 minutes. You can do and say whatever you want to say. If you want to ice in a cake for 3 minutes, you can do that. If you want to have a dance group and y'all want to dance for 3 minutes, you can do that. You can bring your own music. We prefer that they bring their own music. If they want to cipher, they can do that. It's just certain words they can't say. Like they can say the B word, they can curse, but you can't gender bash and you can't use very, very derogatory terms. And I have in the blueprint that he sent me, it lays out all of that. The parents are not allowed in the room. That's one thing we cannot change. Parents are not allowed in the room doing the actual program, because if the parents are in the room and their son or daughter or children have been practicing this rhyme and it, be this and I'm a beat that A, they may not feel comfortable saying that when that's how their song goes, because their mom or their dad is sitting front row. So parents are not allowed at all in the room. Now their peers are more than welcome to come, and it's free. The only thing you have to do is show school ID or some type of ID that you're in the age bracket that you should be to be in that room, and that's it. And this year, right now, I think it's $100 on the table. I think it's 100, and we just increased it. So I have to get the marketing updated, because now we're going to have 3 different levels. I've already spoken to 3 judges who are going to be there to select the winner, because I don't want to be the one to do it. And that's my baby, Youth Open Mic.
Okay, well that's definitely awesome. And just to make sure, it's youthopenmic.com. Is that correct?
Yes, that's it.
Okay. Now, is that open to anyone from any area, or
Anybody.
is it just strictly? So
One thing about what we do here at the Fashion Umbrella Foundation is not just a Baltimore thing. It's an arts thing. So if you're in the arts community and you want to come from Washington State, you can do that. If you want to register, like I said, we have a registration form now for the scholarship. She's in Chicago. I don't care where they're from. We have programs that are for everybody. So if you live in East Jabippi, Maine, and you want to come and perform, that's fine. And if you come from Maine and you win, that's fine too. It's not just a DMV type thing that we do here. It's a everybody thing. Our programs are for everybody, and we can operate within the U.S. of America.
Okay.
Period.
So you do so much with Fashion Umbrella, and you mentioned volunteers. So, how does somebody become a member of Fashion Umbrella or become a volunteer for one of your events?
So to become a volunteer for our events, you just go to BaltimoreFashionWeek.com, Baltimore-FashionWeek.com, and complete the volunteer intern form. So we use the word volunteer, but once you come on board, we call you an intern. I don't like the word volunteer. It just seems like it's a whole bunch of seniors working. And although I'm my age, I don't want to be called a volunteer, although legally I am. But you go to Baltimore-FashionWeek.com, go to register and click on volunteer, fill out the form. When you complete the form, you get to select your interview date or your meeting date with the team. I have nothing to do with it. So please don't email me, Sharon, can you help? Because I can't. I don't even know who I'm getting until my team tells me, oh, this person wants to work front of house. These are your people for front of house on these particular days. And then I meet with them, and more than likely we'll schedule a walkthrough, my team. I'm still to walk through with my team and show them how everything is going to work, tell them where they're going to be, I'm sorry, inform them where they're going to be um, posted or situated during the particular event dates. And that's how we do it. For back of house, which is the production, hair, makeup, and all of that, um, um, Mr. Brown and his team, they handle that. So I'm quite sure they'll schedule a mock walkthrough, I'm sorry, a walkthrough with their team to give them the lay of the land as well. Now, to become a member, now earlier I spoke about being on my board. In order to become a board member, you have to be a member. Registration is $70 annually. It's not $70 a month, it's $70 annually. And when you go to Fashion Umbrella, org and click on membership, you will see a list of services that we provide. And I help businesses with their marketing, just general advice. If I don't know the answer, I know somebody who can, and I can direct you to those individuals. I know several of business consultants outside of my knowledge base who can help you. I just referred somebody Monday. She's starting a nonprofit and she needed help with her mission statement. And I said, I'm letting you know now, it's not easy. Writing a mission statement is not easy. And you have to know the who, what, when, where, and why that you're doing it. And I said, I sat through at least 2 months, two Saturdays, straight Saturdays, for 2 straight months, was that 8 Saturdays in a row, when we went through a strategic planning of the nonprofit. And when I tell you, I wanted to shake the person who I was working with, it was an eye opener for me, because you have to remove yourself from the equation, your personal self, and you have to implement the business person that you are. It's when you're running a business, it's not about you, it's about what you're bringing to the community or to your constituents to make them successful. And that's one thing
Absolutely.
I had to realize. It took me about 9 years to actually figure it out that, okay, you're in your own way and you need to get out your own way so you can do what, God has ordained you to do or guided you to do. And you won't get there if you keep staying here. And so luckily, I'm blessed to have people in my circle who don't have a problem in telling me that I'm doing something wrong. That's dumb. That's crazy. Why are you doing that? Explain. This is one question that any business owner hates to hear. Tell me why you're doing that. And you better have a good answer, especially if you have really strong mentors, because a lame answer, they'll rip it to pieces. And I love my mentors and my board, but if you become a member, you can become a board member too. And
Okay.
you
Well,
can
excellent.
be president or whatever position is open, because right now I sit as president of the board, and I can do that because I'm also the founder of the Fashion Umbrella Foundation, but I'm the chief volunteer, which means I'm in the person, as you would have a executive director or president. I'm not a president because presidents get paid. I'm a volunteer. So my title, my professional title for my organization is chief volunteer.
Okay. Okay. Excellent. Well, you've got so much stuff going on. I do realize that there's a designer contest that you're actually running right now.
Yes. Oh my God, it's so fabulous. I'm like, oh my God. So I'm kind of I call myself a perfectionist, but my friends say no, you're not. They call me something else. I don't know what they call me something else. I call myself a perfectionist. So last night we launched the actual page on the site, which is baltimore-fashionweek.com. And then you go to from flat to finish. And when you click on that page, you will see a link that takes you to the designers. So when I put the page up, I talked to my videographer in California, and he said, what did he tell me? He couldn't figure it out, because when I do all of our websites, I manage about 6, and I manage about 2 for outside clients. So when you do the website, you have to, when you change the regular version, you also have to change the mobile version too. And I forgot to do that. So when he picked it out, I stayed up almost, I didn't go to bed till 4 this morning because then the voting mechanism wasn't working for you to go and vote for the designer. And I had to completely create a brand new one. But the contest is only geared for designers who have participated in Baltimore Fashion Week previously, or they're registered to participate this year. The only thing they had to do was upon registration, submit a video about their submission, whatever that they wanted that to be. And then they had to create a look. What it could be, whatever they wanted it to be. It was like a project runway type event or type contest. It's up to you. And then they had to submit a final video of the garment. You know, if you, the original way we wanted to do it was to have someone model the garment, but because we're all supposed to be quarantined, no professional model should be in their house. So a lot of designers have opted to put, because they all have dress forms, to put the garment on a dress form and take pictures in a video. And on the second, which is next Saturday, we are going to have a virtual fashion show. And the voting has already started. One designer is, I think he's almost at 100%. Excuse me, he's almost at 100%, and I haven't even sent it publicly yet. But the way they win is you can go to the Baltimore-fashionweek.com site and vote. They are also posting their work on all of their social media channels. And so the way the final vote is tallied up or the winner is considered is that we count the votes on our website, and then we go to all of their social media platforms and count the likes on that as well. And the designer with the most likes wins. And then they get,
Awesome.
the winner will receive a selection of designer tools that they can use to create other garments.
Okay. Well, you do so much. You've done, you're very accomplished. 13 years of Baltimore Fashion Week, 3 years of New York Fashion Week, and the Youth Open Mic. So what do you consider to be your biggest accomplishment?
I guess surviving 17 years in business. That's my biggest accomplishment. And just not,
That's it.
when I started, I didn't know how to start. And my only prayer has been, it wasn't for success. It wasn't for, oh, I want to make this much money. It was just to remain, to keep the faith and remain humble. And I believe personally that I've accomplished that. Although I'm very no nonsense, I don't, there's a Sharan Nixon, the one that y'all see on the lives and, cutting up. And then there's Sharan Nixon, the businesswoman. So there are two of me. And the businesswoman is very straight up and down. It's either yes or no. There's no gray area. There are deadlines to meet, because when you miss a deadline, then there's a trickle down effect to everything else that needs to be done. So I'm very, 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 very stringent on deadlines. And I mean, if you miss it, you miss it. I don't know what to tell you. But that was I guess my prayer was to remain humble and to just keep the faith. And that's all I've had for 17 years was faith. I've never had anything else to lean on. Never. I've never, there was one time when I lost the faith a little bit, and God had to speak to me, remind me of why I started. So sometimes you'll see me post on Facebook, remember your why, because you should always remember why you started. I've never done anything because somebody else wanted me to do it. It's either that's what I know that I can accomplish, or I'm not doing it. Because if I can't see the end result, it's not happening.
Okay. So, with being the face of Baltimore Fashion Week, what are some of the challenges that you faced?
So in the beginning, it lasted for the first 10 years of Fashion Week, Baltimore Fashion Week. And I've experienced it from the beginning. And then when we reach year 10, it kind of sort of plateaued and went away. But, me being from Baltimore, me being a female, and me being Black. And one of the things that I had to, which wasn't easy, it was not easy. I had to dismiss the internal thought process that others had of what we were doing over here. Because if you've never been to a fashion week, when you come to our events, you're like, okay, it's over. Yeah. Like, in our very first year, this woman in 2008, I'll never forget it. She went up one side of me, came down the other because our show was over in 30 minutes. And she wanted her money back and she couldn't understand why it wasn't 3 hours. I said, ma'am, you will never, ever. My very first show was an hour and that was too long. You will never, ever come to anything that we do that's 3 hours long. And so that was the biggest challenge, just to get corporations and organizations to believe in us. So when I realized, when I finally realized that was my biggest challenge, was to get organizations to just have trust and faith and believe in what we were doing. That's when I realized, okay, so you got a choice to make. You either going to do this with no help or you're going to give up. And giving up was never an option. And so I just put on, as I say, tell my friends, my big girl panties, and I made it work. So just getting people to believe in it was hard. And then after we hit year 10, I didn't care if they believed in it. I'm like, we're 10 years in. Name one event that's not corporately backed, that's still here for 10 years. 10 consecutive years. Not 3, and you take a break off for 2, then you come back for 1, and then you go away, and then you come back. 10 straight, 13 years. Baltimore Fashion Week has been in operation 13 straight years.
Well, definitely congratulations on that. And that in itself is impressive. We are quite a bit younger. We just celebrated our 5th year, and in the midst of the coronavirus home order. So I
According to
know how
Steve
challenging
Jobs,
that is.
according to Steve Jobs, you have 5 more years to go. Then that's when you know you've made it. You got 5 more to go.
Exactly. So we talked about a lot about Baltimore Fashion Week and the runways, and what kind of advice would you give to a model who's wanting to do fashion shows and runways beyond the local shows?
Well, beyond local, um, can be kind of challenging because you have to know what local is. What you have to know what beyond local is looking for. So what we do, I always go against the cuff a little bit, and I do what I want to do. No, excuse me. We do what we want to do over here when it comes to our shows. So a lot of shows don't accept plus size models. They don't accept petite. And so if you want to be in this industry, you have to do your homework. You have to know first you have to know the type of model you want to be. Once you figure that out, you need to know what you need to do to get there to be seen in that type of model category. Because a lot of a lot of models tend to think, and I've experienced it with every casting. I can tell them as soon as they walk in the door to register that more than likely they won't make it. Because one, they have air about them that, because they've done 20,000 shows, they should be selected by every designer. No, probably won't happen here, but it won't. And so that's an ego buster to a lot of models who do shows, and they may walk for every designer, but okay, so that's cute that you walk for every designer, but what are you going to bring to the table over here? Because I know what I'm looking for. My designers entrust in me to pick the best of the best. And so if I pick a model, my designers know that do Baltimore Fashion Week or the designer debut, they know the only thing they have to worry about is if that model, he or she, can fit the garment. They don't have to worry about back talk. They don't have to worry about lateness. They don't have to worry about if the model can walk professionally, if the model knows. Well, we don't require that our models know all the different twists and walk styles because we only do one straight runway.
Okay.
Did that help? Did I answer that correctly? I mean, well, did I answer it?
Yeah, you definitely did.
Yay.
We definitely encourage, models that we talk to definitely know what's on the next level, and know where you want to go.
But then
Because
they should
every
do it. Excuse, I didn't mean to say that, but they should do it because that's what they want to do. It's so many times I meet models and their parents are living through the model. And so I'll pull the model out to show and I'll pull the parent to the side and I'll say, so I have a question. Do you, by the look on her face or his face, he really doesn't want to be here. One, he's an introvert. So for him to walk out in front of a crowd of over 300 plus people is going to make him nervous. And two, I think you want to live this life through him. And if that's what you want to do, then they should register for a show and be what we call seasoned senior models. I don't like when parents or managers or whatever live through the talent. I just think it's unfair. It's unhealthy and it's unfair. So now I'm done with that.
So, my last question, this pandemic has actually changed a lot of things for a lot of people.
Yeah.
This industry has been crippled because of it. So, what kind of new ideas or creative works that you actually come up with, for either Baltimore or any of the other events that you've got going on, or is there a new event that's cooking in that brain?
No, no new events. I just want to get through these two. That's all I want to do is get through these two and continue to pray because we're praying for Baltimore up here. So one thing that will be different is the model casting. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it because it's going the registration forms are due back to us by April 30th. So for the models who have registered already, we are requesting video submissions. There's no way that we'll be able to do a casting by May 16th in person. Even if they did open the gates on May 1st, I'm not having a casting on the 16th. It's too early. So if any model has registered and they receive their registration guidelines, they will get an email. Probably it's already in there. I think it's slated to be distributed on Monday that this is what we need from you in your video. The videos will be uploaded on our Zenfolio page by first and last name. The stats that are received on the model's registration form will be transformed into another document, and the link, the password protected link, and the spreadsheet will be sent to the designers so they can start selecting their models. Hopefully, by May 16th, we'll be able to schedule a fitting so the designers can fit the models. If not, we're going to have to do something closer to the event date. But I'm still moving forward with Baltimore Fashion Week in August. For New York, I'm waiting to see because they already canceled the Met Gala, which is May 4th. And so now for our designer debut, I'm waiting to see how New York manages it. And then we are taking it from there. And the same thing for Baltimore. The hotel that we're having it at this year is Delta in Hunt Valley. They're ready to go. But once again, we have to see what the pandemic says. But right now we have 10 designers that are ready. And most of them already have their collection together. So it's just a matter of them selecting the models.
Okay. Well, excellent. So I'm gonna open it up now to questions
Uh-oh.
from the
Let me
viewers.
sit up straight.
Um, so we have our first question is from Miss Nia Cotton.
Okay.
Um, and our question is, what is the best way to get yourself seen and start making an income from modeling?
So the best way I would recommend to do that is that you need to have professional photos. You should have photos of you. When I used to run Benai, which is our agency that we own, and I'm not doing it because it's a lot of work. Because once I put it out there that Benai was back, we got so many requests and we didn't have the bodies to fill the requests. So I had to turn them down. And through Benai, we did all paid work. It was mainly in New York, Delaware, Philly, New York, Delaware, Philly, and Pennsylvania. I didn't do any work in DC and in Virginia and in Maryland unless it was corporate back because they didn't want to pay. And our fees were nice. Um, and so we didn't, with Benai, we didn't charge the model. The only time we charged the models if they got a gig and it was over like $1,000. Other than that, all the money they made, they got to keep. Because, you know, you just don't. I mean, especially if it's their first time, you let them keep it. Like, let them have fun with it. So, the best way to get it out there is to do your photo shoots. You have to be, if you're not photogenic, you need to create your team. You should always have your favorite hairstylist, and you should always have your favorite makeup artist. And yes, you will probably have to pay them. Nobody's going to keep doing stuff for credits on a tear sheet. They need to live as well. So I would recommend that if you're going to go about this siphon to start building up a budget to pay the hairstylist and the makeup artist and a photographer. What is it? With
TF.
TFPs. TFPs are cute, but most of the time TFPs won't get you in the door that you're trying to get into. And then you must have an 8 by 10 image. On the back of your 8 by 10 image, you need to have your resume on the back of it. I know they have comp cards, but now the resume on the back of the image is for acting. If you're doing a comp card, then it should be 5 by 7 and it should have 5 different looks. If you're looking at your comp card and you still have the same facial expression, I'm gonna consider that to be one look. One look with a whole bunch of different clothes on. You should be a chameleon. If you are a model and your hair is a 1B, and then I see you again and it's blonde, then you need to take another photo shoot. You need to show that in your portfolio. Your portfolio, you don't have to go out and spend $40, $50 on the leather bound portfolio. You can use a binder, get the report sheets, put your pictures in it, your most current one and your oldest one in the bag, have your resume as your first sheet, and then have your images behind that. And that's how you should present it when you do a go-see. And we used to teach all that when I did Benai. So when I had Benai, they had a 57-page handbook that they had to read and sign because it also talked about international work. Because when I had Benai, I had international clients as well. And so that's a whole different ball game when you're traveling international because now you got to have the right socket to charge your phone. Because I don't want to hear that you missed an appointment because your phone died. Because when I had Benai, if I heard that, you're gone because you're not reliable. Now I have to explain to this client why they don't have talent that's paying $1,000 just to try on jeans. Just to try on jeans, $1,000. So that's what you need to do. I hope, did I answer the question? I feel like I'm just so passionate about this. I love it.
Yes, you did. You did answer the question, and we can tell that you do love it. We have one more question from Michelle Hartz. What are you and the designer specifically looking for from the models in the video submissions? Obviously,
So
she's registered.
So for the video submissions, all models must wear all black. They must walk. So since everybody's used to taking selfies and doing on TikTok, it shouldn't be that hard. So you're just going to submit a video. It should not be no more than 20 seconds. I don't need a whole hour long video 20 seconds enough in a cleared area where you're walking down and you're walking back. You will have to slate your first and last name. And you don't, do we put the age? No, you don't have to tell us your age, just your first and last name. So slate means whenever you do a video, you tell your first and last name. And Antonio, I know you know about that. And so we need you to do that. So one, it's one for me, and two for the designer. So when I'm going through your video, I can make sure I have the right name when I'm pulling out your paperwork and recording your stats. The designers are just looking for professionalism. That's it. When they register, the only thing I ask them for is the gender of model they need for their collection and the size. What I will say is that in the past 12 years, this is year 13, designers have come to fittings, and if they're doing a collection that maybe goes up to an 8, if we have a plus size model there that's, appeasing to their eye, or they want to include them, they'll add them. I don't have say on who gets in the collection. My job is to make sure that the right models, the professional models from a size 5'4" all the way up to 6'4", however tall you are, from a size 2 to a size 16, however the size you are, is that you are professional. And that when you go in front of that designer, the only thing they need to say is yes or no. That's it. Because
All
they
right. Well,
trust me to
excellent.
select models for them.
Okay. Well, excellent. Well, I definitely appreciate the time that we spent on this call. You've been very, very informative. Um, uh, Definitely encourage everybody to definitely go and check out Fashion Umbrella. You guys are doing great things over there. Aside from Baltimore Fashion Week, we all know how big and great that is. Um, but again, I want to thank you for joining us. I want to thank our viewers for actually watching this first interview, this first episode. And I hope
What? I'm
everybody
the
has a
first
great.
episode?
Yes, this is the first
I'm the
episode.
first
You are the
baby?
yeah,
Oh my God. I'm the pilot. I am the
you
pilot.
are the pilot.
Who is
You
that?
are the pilot. Well, you guys have a great evening. Sharon, we will definitely be in touch really soon.
Okay.
You guys have a great night.
Thank you for the time. It was awesome. Bye, y'all. Thank you.